was going to do I was going to do Shapat, the one I dropped in the chat to break it down like we do. And then I said for some reason fruit popped in my head. I don't know why. I don't know why. Um all right, so
Shalom, call you about like how about Sunday outside. His goodness, mercy endures forever. Just real quick, I was thinking about it from the context of like the fruit of the body. And I was thinking to myself, it's got to be something more profound than that word fruit. And like I say, I was meditating on it and I just never got around to doing it. But that's the context I was meditating on it about.
fruit of the body. I can't say why. It just I was looking through the script today, and for some reason fruit popped in my spirit. Said go look that word up to see what our ancestors used. And I do know we have two different words. This first one, this one I'm going to share today is the older what you find in Genesis. Later on, the word bakar, like first fruits, bakar with for the later generation they would use bakar as in first fruits. But this word here is the older generation, like in Genesis. You know, they use this word, but you're going to see the still the you're going to see the power in it still see the power in it. So Masha Pop, here's this word, our word. The pagans say fruit, but we would use this. So take a few seconds to decode this, and then we'll come together as a group. All right, anyone want to share what they got for this word? Anybody?
I got PARAH. I got PARAH or PARAH. Kind of sound like pear almost.
Con, I thought the same thing. I thought the same thing. So this is the one of the older words for what the pagans turned into fruit. And I always encourage you all when you're doing your word studies to go to the root, because we just add on a consonant to change the form of the word. If we want to, refer it to a female or a male, but the root is going to get you, the true context of the word. So These three glyphs, for those still learning, again, redundant to those who've been around, we start on the right side of the screen, not the left. We start on the right. So that first glyph you see looks like a flattened letter O. It's actually a picture of a mouth, and that's our pa sound. And then the head of the man in the middle, of course, is obvious to see that. That is our ra sound. You can see that the pagans got their R from the ra sound. And then that last glyph with the man with his hands raised is our H, our ha sound. So we inherently know in between these letters is a short A sound. And we just say PARAH, PARAH. And that's what the pagans came up with, where for them is fruit. And fruit to us is dead, it's not alive. One thing I did come across while I was building this class, and I only have a few witnesses, but I'm guaranteed you can see more. You know, in their school system, they taught us in English their parts of speech. Like they have verbs, nouns, adjectives, prepositions, and all that stuff. But if you start to examine our language, our culture, all of our words are action words. They perform a function. So like when you see the word fruit, like if you didn't go to their school and do that, 5 times each and definitions and all that stuff, you wouldn't know what fruit means. Someone would have to tell you what fruit means. Opposed to our culture, when you see those glyphs, the glyphs tell you what the word means, because all of our words are actions. Even like our names, Abadia, Naraya, Gamarya, they are action words. And when you see the glyphs, you see the action of the word. So to restore the Shemitic, mind of us, when you start doing the word studies, think of what function is happening, what action is happening, and that'll help you really restore your Shemitic mind. So this is PARAH. The pagans say fruit. So on the surface, that picture of a mouth is a mouth. Head of a man is the head of a man, and then the man with his hands raised could represent joy, because you guys been to parties, you've been to clubs, you've been to sporting events. When we get excited, what we do, throw your hands in the air. So the ha could represent being joyful. So on the surface or the first layer, you see the mouth of a man and joy. Mouth, man, and joy. But if you take it, and also just clip the witness from, this is from Wikipedia, and they were going over the Hebrew glyph ha, and the Arabic has the same character HA. They're telling you it's HA, and it has a long A sound for the Arabics, which are the Arabics we know are our cousins. But you see this glyph here. This is saying this is a Phoenician glyph or a Canaanite glyph, a man with his hands raised, and they're saying Hilul, jubilation. So just as another witness, we don't just make things up to sound good and fit what we're trying to teach. We produce witnesses. So the man with his hands raised, we don't use it often, but it can represent being joyful, being joyous. So how does that relate to a fruit? Mouth, man, and being joyful. Well, on a second level, inside is the start of life. So that pagan word fruit is like, again, if we didn't go to their schools and was forced to learn definitions, fruit would be just, again, a dead word. But when you look at PARAH, inside is the start of life. And I know Chef is on with Mr. Brother. Chef is a big component of and some of you others too, but Chef is really I don't know how I should say, Chef is really adamant about eating clean and eating real foods. So when you're eating real foods, inside the man is the start of life. Like we always, we post things about their food, their meat industry. We've been eating dead food for so long. It's amazing. No, it's not amazing. It's the power of Yah that we're still alive. We haven't had a real banana since like 84, 85. The bananas they've been serving us, you don't even see no seed marks. So parah for us, inside is the start of life, and that's what your food is supposed to do to you. Your food is supposed to give you life and energy. I know one of my elders, even though he's a Muslim, he's a good brother. He always said that, like, think about it, like, you ain't supposed to eat and become lethargic. Your food is supposed to give you energy. You're supposed to eat some food, some nourishment, and be energetic. Go back out to work, you know. But the food we eat, we get the dropsies, you know. So that's the word parai. I don't know. Again, I don't know why it came to my spirit this morning, but I thought it'd be a good word to study. Inside is the start of life, and that's what our food is supposed to do. It's supposed to repair our cells and just keep us alive. So, anybody want to share their thoughts on this word, parai? All right, I got two witnesses in the scripts in the kathabs to bring this out. The first one is Mashallah 18 and 20. Mashallah 18 and 20 is Proverbs. Proverbs 18 and 20. And it just brings the text alive.
Shalom. You mind if I give my thoughts? I'm at work, so I'm trying to work while speaking.
Con, go ahead. You got it.
When I see the word, I think of two things. One is when Yahweh Shah said, what comes out of a man is what reveals the man or defines a man. So the pa, what comes out like a mouth, the ra of a man is ha, what reveals the man. And the word of the chief spirit could be parah. That's another thing that I thought of.
Con.
Like Yahweh Shah being the living word, or the living water, the manna from heaven, the parah. I kind of put those together as far as like fruit, and then the word as well. But I hope that made sense. But I yield.
Con, you pretty much driving us right where I'm going with this. Um, Zamaria, I don't know if you're free to help us read. If you could pull that second witness in Matthew 15:11, and I'll grab Proverbs 18 and 20, right where. That's why I love this thing. You see, me and Nariah didn't know what we was going to do today. He didn't know the scripture I had prepared. It's just being a cultural Israelite. He's saying the same thing I'm saying, and the first witness is what the world? Proverbs 18 and 20. It says, Shema. Proverbs 18 and 20. A man's belly shall be satisfied with the parah of his mouth, and with the increase of his lips shall he be filled. That's why we say words of power. You know, even though you may be feeling negative inside, just don't let those words out. I've been going through a week of pain, and I just keep telling my wife. My wife keep checking on me. I'm like, it's getting better. It's getting better. It's getting better, because you're going to be satisfied by the parah of your mouth. You could be, destitute of money, and right now I have a lack of funds. I'm not broke. I'm not poor. Especially if you have assets. A man who has assets, a home or a car, you're not broke. You have assets. But be careful what you let out your mouth. Especially when you're talking about your children, your husband, your wife. I had this brother at the job, and he's not there no more, so Shamoria, don't try to look for him. But he used to come to work every day, and we was on a night shift, and he just would run down his they wasn't married to his girlfriend. He would run her down. She's a dumb this, she's a dumb that. And I'm looking at him like, hey, bro, you got to be careful how you talk about your girl, because if she's all that, how long you been with her? So you let this type of woman hold you down for 5 years? What's that saying about you? He's like, Dad, you right. So yeah, so change your speech, change your speech. So that's Proverbs 18 and 20. Any thoughts or comments on that first script there? I was trying to get the chat, but Any comments about that first script? All right. So Mario, was you able to pull Matthew 15:11? That's the one Nariah was pretty much paraphrasing.
Shalak, yeah, I'm in the grocery store wrapping
Okay.
it up real quick. Yeah, yeah. As soon as I get up out of here and get back to the crib, I got you.
No worries.
Yes, sir.
I'll read it. I'll read it. Not that which goeth into the mouth defiles a man, but that which cometh out of the mouth, this defiles a man.
So all praises. We know the Christians try to use this to teach against the Levitical law of clean foods, and that's not what Yahweh Shah was saying. He was saying, well, first of all, I just got to do this for the purpose of teaching. First of all, Israelite wouldn't even call swine food. We wouldn't call crab food. Just like today in our context, if my wife is making a cake and the cake calls for 3 eggs, I already know that she's not going to put the shells in, because in our society where we come from, eggshells is not food. So that's how it is for an Israelite. If we're talking having a conversation about what's clean, I'm already know the law. You know what Moses taught us. So this verse in Matthew 15:11, Yahweh Shai is not teaching against the law like the law is null and void. He's just trying to tell these Pharisees, y'all worried about me washing my hands. Y'all insides are defiled, because you got murder, you got envy, you got lust on the inside. And all of us, we ain't got to start telling on ourselves, but if we remember the times that we fell to sin, it started on the inside. It started with a thought. It started with a look. And then that thought look came into a word. Then that word became an action. So that's what Messiah is talking about. Your PARAH, and Nariah broke it down, the word of the chief inside, or the word of the chief spirit. And then again, we could go on forever. We could have class just with this word, because the Most High told us coming out the wilderness, I suffered y'all to go without, so you can know that man don't live by bread, but by every word that comes out of the mouth of Yah, PARAH. That's what Nariah so eloquently broke down. The mouth of the chief, or the word of the chief spirit. And we know the word of our chief spirit is the Most High. And if we're living by his word, if we're trusting in his promises, we're not gonna suffer famine. We're not gonna suffer lack. So that's today's word, PARAH. Any comments or questions about PARAH?